Item 13, discussion, consideration, and possible action on type of lighting to be installed downtown.
This item has come up on several occasions. It was requested a few months ago that I request pricing to change lighting from metal halide to high pressure sodium. Charged Mr. Gary Johnson with that project, and he has provided the pricing, which is attached to your agenda. He is available to answer any questions, as well as Jim Ward, who I think spoke with the electricians as well.
And the lighting we're referring to is the lighting all around City Hall and the surrounding streets around City Hall and the south side of Washington, correct?
Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the street.
Yes.
And the pricing does include labor?
Yes.
And that amount is $49,327.
Jeff, does that seem from your previous experience in the ballpark?
I'm sure the pricing is fine. I personally wouldn't spend that. I propose we scale that back, and we have a couple of options. One option would be that in Phase 2, which is just the south side of Washington, we only swap out those 4 lights so that at least the people coming through town on the main drag see the warm, high-pressure sodium lights all the way through. And then option 2 would be, then that's 4 lights. And then option 2 would be those 4 lights plus the 6 on Farquhar between the Calpine and Washington. Then at least it would look good for the visitors coming into and going through town, and it wouldn't cost very much money that way. And then over here, a block off of Washington, you'd see this jewel of bright white light, which is, I think it's a good compromise.
Well, we also have the white lights that we don't control behind Prosperity Bank. It also stand out because of the opening from the railroad track and everything there.
Yeah, a lot of
and they are even brighter than these out here.
Right. Also, the Shell station, the new Shell station has.
Well, that's further on down the road.
But it's down in Washington, and you can see all through Washington from there.
But you're saying the 4 on Washington?
Yeah, and if we do just take option A, which is 4, and not option B, which is those 4 plus Farquhar, then there actually are 2 more at the end of Farquhar where it meets Washington. Then we might as well do all 6 of those. And that would only be, the 4 lights is $1,900 total. The 4 plus the 6 together is $4,750. That's much more palatable, and then it would even look like there's a reason why that bright white blue light is over here around City Hall. And it would stand out kind of like a jewel. And, as far as
they'll all be consistent.
all these other type B parking lot lights and type D, the tall ones at the corners, and the ground lights and the flagpole lights, I don't see any reason to change them.
I think it ought to be all or nothing. I hate to be, but as I've driven around and going through all these different towns, and I looked, probably not most people know, but inconsistency. Orange, white, 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 orange, 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 white, white, orange, white, white, orange.
I agree.
And I don't like it. I think it should be one or the other. But I don't think we should spend $50,000. If they were 25 years old, I would say yes, but they're brand new.
And that's why I think option A or B doesn't give us a checkerboard approach like you're describing. We have one area of a bright white jewel right around our newest building downtown, our only modern building downtown. And the rest would be the more traditional, warmer, more receptive and inviting high-pressure sodium yellow light.
What are the overhead lights down there? They're also high-pressure sodium, aren't they?
Overhead. You mean along the street?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty much all high-pressure sodium all over town, except right here.
I think I counted, there were, before they put in the LED lights, there were 3 of the metal halide running all down Washington Avenue from one end.
Gary probably has an accurate count on how many of those over the years have been swapped out.
I don't, but Entergy probably does.
How many streetlights do we have in the city?
Hundreds. I don't have an exact count, but just hundreds and hundreds.
Sure.
We did an inventory of those, was it last year or year before last, when they entered in?
4 years ago.
Has it been 4 years?
Shannon rode around with and counted 500 and something, 560 something. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I like Jeff's approach.
I'd be amenable with four.
It'll definitely be out of budget, it's not. And we all had the opportunity to look at the plans and know what was gonna be done, and I just don't feel, I just think it's some frivolous to spend money. I don't care how much you spend on it.
We did all have the opportunity to look at the plans, and I brought up at that time that I thought we should swap over on Washington, rather than spend more money after the bad we already spent.
That's again, that's personal,
Yes.
it's personal.
Yep. Did everybody go see Brennan?
Yes,
What'd you think of those bright white lights everywhere?
Then what?
looked fine to me.
Hated it.
In fact, it made it more safe, I felt more safe. If I would have been a walker or a runner, I think I would like them better,
Okay.
if I walked around.
Well,
Working on that.
also, I speak from the
Mayor's
fact,
challenge.
I speak from the fact that I've got several people we've seen in our practice who have mild to severe macular degeneration and like to go out and walk when they can, and, I have to tell them don't, because it will make their macular degeneration worse. That's part of the negative health consequences of metal halide.
I guess if you stare at it long enough.
Just being under it. You don't have to stare right at it.
If you don't have to look at the bulb, you just have to look at the light that's coming from the bulb.
The data are fairly compelling on that. Also, part of the issue is that back when we were planning all of this, we didn't have any of this information. Had we known some of this, I would have made a very different decision. And the original lighting would be put in place.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I move that we switch out the 4 lights down south side of Washington, and then the 2 at the intersection of Farquhar and Washington to high pressure sodium.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any dollar figure attached to that, or
Yes.
kind of limit ourselves on some kind of budget?
No, that's $2,850, according to these Meekins numbers.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. 2